Sir, we are unable to hear you.
Sorry. Yeah. So thank you so much. So today we are going to now today what we will do now is basically we will develop the IV relationship of the PN junction, and in the process later on we are going to extend this for the situation for high frequency analysis. That's essentially for the diffusion capacitance. Okay. So remember, as I told you in the morning, like depletion capacitance is available for both AC as well as DC, whereas its diffusion capacitance is for AC only. Okay, AC, that is high frequency usually. Okay, so before we go into this, what we shall do is we will look into the lecture on continuity equation just before the midsem. So over there, we remember that um, I mean, this was the generation recombination equation, and this was the continuity equation. So, what is the special advantage of continuity equation is that it will essentially take into account the carrier generated or lost in a particular material, some part of the device, okay, where we have included the term which is coming because of the currents and the other term which is coming because of generation and recombination. Okay, na? So now you can go through this part. So this was already explained in the class itself. Now, what we had done then was simply a semiconductor block like this. Okay, we did not consider it as a particular region of the device as such. Then, what we went on to do is this is the original continuity equation, and thereafter, for the steady state and all, we have essentially figured out that the final spatial variation, that means the variation of the carrier concentration with space, was given by this relation. Okay. Thereafter, we went into the dielectric relaxation time and all that. So that's not our concern for today's lecture. So the first thing that we need to understand is that um, the concentration of the free carriers, okay, that will decrease from its n0 value, okay, where 0 is, let us say, the uh, point where we are actually making the observation as we go along the x. Okay, so this is what we had shown. This was of course with respect to the time, but x will also, I mean, with variation with x will also be an exponentially decreasing curve as shown in this particular diagram. Okay, so but this was done only for a silicon material. Okay, but now what we will do is we will do the same solution of the same kind of an equation, the continuity equation, but we will apply it for a real device. Okay, so here is a situation. Okay, so here what we are observing is the continuity equation is again copied from our previous lecture, the original continuity equation, this one. I have just copied it into here. Okay, the only difference between the two, if you notice closely, that for the semiconductor material I did just put n. Okay, here on the other hand we have put one p as a subscript. So henceforth what we will do is, in especially for the junctions, bipolar junction trans BJTs or BJT, I do not think I'll even bother about teaching, but anyway, for any kind of junctions wherever we are encountering, we will essentially denote it with this kind of a symbol. What does it mean? It simply means that n denotes the carrier concentration, that's electron concentration, electron density, and this p stands for which region it is located. Okay, so what we are suggesting here, np means electron concentration in the p type in the diode. Okay, p side of the junction. Okay, so that is the continuity equation. Now this is the continuity equation which we already know. So what was the standard process? This is the current density equation, you know. See, these are all known equations. So all I'll be doing is um, if I want to put this Jn into this equation. Okay? That's the same way we did for our pure semiconductors case in our previous, a few lectures ago. So what is the del Jn del x? This is the derivative of this equation. Okay, you will essentially, there are two x related terms. One is this np, the other one is f, the other one is of course the derivative of del np del x. So you are going to have this one as well as del f del x as well as del 2 np del x square. Okay, very simple. There is nothing special concerning that. Okay, and then we are essentially going to plug in this del J, this relation into here. Then what you will obtain is this one, del np del t, and instead of this del J and del x, I have simply added this part of the equation. Okay, and here instead of npo minus np, I have put np minus np or this. This is simply algebra. There's nothing special. Okay, now notice that beyond the depletion boundary, okay, now comes the real interesting part. Beyond the depletion boundary, so when we are essentially dealing with the electrostatics, we are going to look into the device like this. So this is x equal to 0, this is equal to xn, this is equal to minus xp, right? This is for the coordinate system which we used for our electrostatics. For carrier transport, on the other hand, what we are going to do is something different. We will say this is x equal to 0, and here is x, and this is x equal to 0, and here is x. So if you are looking into the variations, what we will observe is something like that, and here something like that. Okay, so the axis for our consideration will be something like here and this. Okay, whereas in case of electrostatics, the axis was something like that. Okay, see the difference? So it is primarily a matter of shifting the origin to, what is this region? We all know this is the depletion boundary, correct? So when we are speaking about the carrier transport, so the first thing that you have to keep in mind, there are no carriers inside the depletion region, first of all. Yes or no? There are no carriers. So the minority carriers which will somehow manage to come to this free region, so over there it is going to move. Okay, so with this in mind, we will basically try to develop the model. Okay, just keep that very important thing in mind. Okay, so we are done. Now I'm going very slow because it is soon going to be very complicated. Okay, now uh, beyond the depletion boundary, so as I said, after depletion boundary is only what we are concerned about. So beyond the depletion boundary, what we observe is that the field will be 0. Obviously, remember, beyond the depletion boundary, you have got free carriers. I know the free carriers means they are anyway connected to the terminal. So there are free carriers, so the field will be 0. And del f del x will also be 0. So now, what do we get over here? Here is the f. Here is del f del x. Okay, so these two um, terms will become 0, and you are simply left with only this part. Okay, which is essentially similar to the situation which we had seen in our previous lecture. Where is it? Okay, look at that part. Del n del t is equal to this, correct? So this is very much similar to what we have seen here. So now under the steady state, again this is equal to 0. Excellent. So you are left with this relation, which is again, notice, it is the same as the equation which we had done for the pure materials, even without considering the p-n junction. Correct? Now, from here, things become different for a large semiconductor bar, which we had seen in our previous lecture, and the solution for p-n junction. Okay? Now, if it is a large semiconductor bar, we do not have any restriction on the value of x. So this is what we got. It's the same as the relation which we saw in our previous lecture. The only difference between this and this relation is that I had added one p subscript in both the cases. That means we are speaking about the minority carriers here. This is p side n. So p side electrons. Those are the minority carriers, right? Very good. So this is where our discussion for the semiconductor bar had ended. Okay. Now we will do the same kind of solution of this one for p-n junction. Okay. So now we have realized that there is fundamentally no difference between the method which we are doing for p-n junction, BJT or MOSFET from what we have done from a pure semiconductor. So now you can connect the dots like, okay, those continuity equation, whatever sir had taught earlier is also exactly valid for p-n junction. The only difference being the boundary conditions. Okay. So that is where I will emphasize now. So first solution is for a wide base diode. Okay. And when we deal with the narrow base after a few minutes, what you will observe is that narrow base diode is nothing other than the BJT. Okay. So in the morning, we have learned something about uh, one-sided junction, remember? So BJT, it will automatically be a kind of a corollary of whatever we are doing today, right now. Okay. Just look at it. So this is the it's a wide base diode. So that means it's a much larger diode here. It's a long channel. We usually reserve the word channel for MOSFETs anyway. So this is a long device. Okay. So let me just put it on this side and then we shall try to draw. So if it is a very long device, then our situation is something like this. I'll put the axis here. Just keep in mind that here is the, what is that? Depletion boundary. Okay, now. This is not the junction. So in this side, this is entirely P side. And we are speaking about N in P. That is the minority carriers. Okay, injected minority carriers. All right. So over here, there will always be NP0. What is that? Is equal to Ni square by PP0. PP0 is Na. I know. What is this? This is the thermally generated, or simply I'll put thermal generation. You understand what I'm trying to tell you. So the electrons, which are the minority carriers in the p-type semiconductor, p-type p side of the diode, electrons which are in the p side, which are generated because of thermal generation, Ni square by Na, that is NPO. Okay. Now there will be some electrons which are somehow going to go past this depletion region and they will essentially die out like that. What is this form? This is an exponential form, which we have already seen in our previous lecture. Correct? Now, this point, what we are essentially in the y-axis is we are essentially plotting the n as a function of x. This is your x. Okay, na? So over here, it is going to be NP0. Okay, so let's be more specific. This is NP. That means electrons in the p side. So this is your NP0. which will die out to NPO. That is for the thermal generation. Remember, this will never go to zero. NP doesn't go to zero. The minimum value of NP is, it is essentially going to be NP naught. However, the difference between NPX and this, that I shall put it as the delta NP, which is defined as NPX minus NPO. Okay? So this difference, what is this? Excess minority carriers. Okay, na? That is what we had done in our previous lecture also. You see, what was this delta N? Denote the excess carrier concentration. So now you can understand why it is called a minority carrier concentration. So excess minority carrier concentration. So this is excess minority concentration. Okay. Now this is this is all in the P side. Everything happening in the P side. So now comes the question of the boundary conditions. So one thing is pretty sure, that delta NPX, if this is the solution which we saw for a large semiconductor bar, the solution for this, for a diode, can have, by the way, why did we not have this e to the power of plus x by ln? Again, discussed in our previous class, that here, okay, what we know is that since it is a complete semiconductor bar, ठीक है, बहुत बड़ा है, तो अब क्या होने वाला है? We know that delta n infinity is always 0, then a is equal to 0. So that was the logic. We only had this e to the power of minus term. But when we are essentially dealing with a diode, okay, the diode, it is always going, x will always have a limitation, right? It can be a micrometer or something. You cannot say that a diode is 2 kilometers. You cannot say a diode, you have made one diode of 1 meter. No, this x will always be, there will be some end to the diode, right? So what it means is that size of the diode, I've essentially called it as WP. That means width of the diode in the P side region. So what we understand is that if it is a diode, then at some point there will be, I mean, after the diodes kind of ended, so let us say this is the diode side, this is the terminal. Okay, this is the terminal of the diode, and this is of course the depletion boundary, as I said. So if this is the terminal, so that means the concentration of the excess minority carriers are definitely going to be zero at the terminal. Yes or no? Excess minority carrier तो कभी नहीं रहेगा ना, उसके पहले ही वो zero हो जाता है. So if WP is the width of the diode in the P side region, then delta NP WP is equal to, I have simply replaced this X by WP. Now this delta NP, that means the excess minority carriers is always going to be zero. That means NP here is equal to NPO. Okay, this is for a wide base diode. This is important. Okay, but because later on we are going to restrict ourselves into narrow base diode as well. So once we are essentially getting this delta NP equal to 0 at the terminals, okay, so I have just put it 0 here. Okay, what is the other situation? What is the delta NP at the depletion boundary? What I have done is I have simply replaced x by 0. So a plus b is equal to, this is something interesting. ये कहाँ से आया यार? Here we will apply the Boltzmann relation. Remember, so in this course you will notice that I am not teaching anything which is unnecessary or not related for the course itself. So in one of the statistics or semiconductor statistics, I taught about the semiconductor Boltzmann relation. So you can go into that class and you can see we have derived such an equation there. So this is valid for Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, and this is, so if the moment I'm telling you this is a Boltzmann relation valid for Maxwellian statistics, then the first thing that it should come to your mind is it is valid for what condition? Anybody?
Equal.
No. Carrier में equilibrium, come on.
Only
Sir,
when
distinguishable.
greater than shallow.
Shallow doping, very good. Who was that? That was really nice.
Srinivas, sir.
Very good, very good. Shallow doping. Remember that shallow doping concept? That means you are always going to have all the carriers which are generated because of ionization. Ionization energy is less than the thermal energy. Okay? So this was done in one of our previous classes. Okay, keep that in mind. So once we have it, okay, then we know that delta NP0 will be equal to NP naught minus NPO, and from here what do we get? NPO equal to e to the power of V by phi t minus 1. V is the applied bias. All right. Now remind me, towards the end of today's class, I'm going to give you one very important concept, which is a uh, very very conceptual part. Anyway, that is going to be like, that is related to the contact potential. We will look into in when we are dealing with MOSFETs also. Okay, so delta NP0 is this, so that is exactly what I wrote here. Okay, so these are the two boundary conditions we have got. So when we were dealing with a large semiconductor bar, we did not have any specific boundary condition, whereas in case of a practical diode, we do have. So now our objective will be to figure out the values of A and B, the expressions for A and B. So I wrote it as a matrix and directly solved it. And then we got these relations for A and B, and then in delta NP expression, where we had this x and minus x, okay, this original expression, I have just added A and B here. This A and B expressions, after solving this matrix, we got this solution, and this A and B I have added in this particular relation and got this. Very simple. You go through the mathematics later. Now I'll just explain how this deduction is done, and I shall also explain the physical consequences of it. That's the most important part. Okay. Now, once because this physical consequences, physical significance is basically what you will require for all kind of circuit designs, especially at the lower technology nodes. So A and B is something which we have obtained here. Okay, clear, awesome. Now notice that this I have written in the form of sine hyperbolic. So what are we essentially dealing about is the excess minority carrier injection, or simply injected minority carriers. That's also okay. We'll be using this equation again later on, so that's why I have just put the numbers. All right. So now, if we want to find out the current density, okay. So notice the first thing that you have to notice is that I am considering only the diffusion part. Okay. The drift part will essentially come later. I will show you how it is done later. So that will essentially be related to the diffusion capacitance. But as of now, if we consider the diffusion part, then that will essentially be the variation. What is this? This will be Q dn del n del x. I know. That was the first relation that we wrote here as also. Okay. So since del n, which is the injected minority carrier, is NP minus NPO. Now NPO is a constant. So if you are putting del NP del x, this is anyway going to be 0 now, because NPO is a constant only generated through thermal variation. So we essentially get this. Okay, del x of del NP, that is the injected minority carrier, should be equal to the spatial rate of change of the total minority carriers. ठीक है, so उस हिसाब से del dnp dx के बदले में dx of del np लिखे हैं. So basically I am relating it with the excess minority carrier, so that I can essentially plug in this relation over here. Okay, very simple. Now this only x related term is here, wp minus x by ln of sine hyperbolic. So remaining part are all independent of x. So sab kuch bahar karo. Then what you will be left with? This ln will be in the denominator. Okay, this ln, but with a minus sign, right? So there is a minus sign here. And then sine hyperbolic becomes cos hyperbolic. All right. Now, if I'm taking the current at the junction, no, at the depletion boundary. So x equal to 0 implies depletion boundary. So this is very, very important. Okay, please keep that in mind. यहाँ पर 0 मतलब ये junction नहीं है. ठीक है? This 0 is essentially referring to the depletion boundary. This is the depletion boundary. Okay. And now why we are suddenly choosing this in 0? It is because I want to get rid of this x term. Okay. And why? This is simply becomes easier because who can tell me why are we choosing? So this is the standard technique which is done for any kind of current modeling. कौन बता सकता है in 0 क्यों ले रहे हैं? Why not in x? Electronic devices, BTech. Okay, the reason is if you can clearly understand that there is one exponential term, ये cos hyperbolic मतलब exponential only, right? So it simply means that as the diffusion component becomes lower and lower, so does it mean that those many carriers are wasted? No, no, no. All it means is you are also getting one drift current which will go on increasing. Okay, so that is why we are doing it. And okay, that concept, has it become clear? So now if we are taking in 0, that means exactly the current which is here at this at the depletion boundary, then over there the only component of the current which is contributing to the total current will have to be what? Diffusion component. Why? Because remember, as I told you, here is the depletion width, W depth. You know? So the carrier somehow came over here, the minority. That's why it becomes minority carrier. So once the electrons have reached over here, then what is the situation? There are majority of minority carriers here, more number of minority carriers here, less number of minority carriers in the p side. So if it is more number of electrons here, less number of electrons on the p side, remember right hand side is the p, what will happen? These electrons will start to move in this direction due to concentration gradient alone. Now, the moment it starts at velocity v equal to 0 kind of thing, initial velocity. So once it starts, then what will happen? Its drift component, its diffusion component will decrease because its concentration is decreasing. So its diffusion component will decrease. But if the diffusion component decreases, where is it? Where are those electrons going? Those electrons that will essentially, that component of the current, whatever is decreasing from the diffusion current, will essentially contribute to the increase in the drift component. Okay, the way I showed you, the drift will be exactly like this. So drift plus diffusion, for example, here diffusion is 0, drift is maximum. Okay, so the sum of the drift and diffusion through either p side or n side, both of them are exactly the same. So if we want to find out the total current at any cross section, it will always be the sum of drift and diffusion. And so at x equal to 0, that is the depletion boundary, the total current will be equal to only the diffusion component, because यहाँ पर कोई drift current है ही नहीं. As I showed you, it was like this, right? So it was 0. So essentially meaning that when we chose to consider only the drift component part, makes sense only when we are trying to find out IN0. ठीक है, तो अगर हम यहाँ पर INX निकालना, मान लो हमें INX निकालना है, सपोज आई वांट टू फाइंड आउट द INX वैल्यू or whatever x, like some value away from the depletion boundary, what is going to happen? It is going to be the sum of this part, whatever we have done, plus the drift, which we have to again calculate and find out. Just to keep it simple, let's take the depletion boundary, where the total current will be equal to only the diffusion component. ठीक है? So this is the reason, physical reason, why we are choosing only IN0. Okay, very nice. And that is the reason why we are essentially choosing the only diffusion component, not the drift. All right, so once we have got that, यहाँ पर x equal to 0 बिठा दो, आपका ये वाला expression आ जाएगा. The only thing is that Jn is the current density, so we have to multiply with this particular area term. Okay, so once we have got this area term, so what we will be having is there is an area and with a minus, right? So there is a minus AQ dn NPO ln, this sine hyperbolic WP by ln, and ऊपर क्या है? Cos hyperbolic WP by ln. So essentially ln tan hyperbolic WP by ln. Cool. And this e to the power v by phi t minus 1. So this is equation number 2. Okay. Now, so all this has been done in the P side. Similarly, on the N side, on the left hand side, let us say, all we have to do is we will just change two things here. All the subscripts will change. This is for the N type region. For the P type region, it will be P. dn के बदले में dp. np naught के बदले में pn naught. That means whole concentration in the N type region due to thermal generation. Ln is the diffusion length in the N type region. It will be Lp, that is diffusion length in the P type region. Cool. उसके बाद tan hyperbolic Wp by ln, Wp के बदले में Wn लिखेंगे, Wn के बदले में Lp लिखेंगे. ठीक है. I do not want to go for the derivation of this. Another one difference is यहाँ पर minus q था ना इलेक्ट्रॉन चार्ज के लिए, यहाँ पर प्लस q हो जाएगा होल चार्ज के लिए. होल चार्ज is positive. Okay. So the net current will simply be, again, notice it is IP0 for the same reasons, because this derivation is based on the diffusion. So diffusion will be equal to the total current. Diffusion current will be equal to total current only at the depletion boundary. Same thing here. So if we are trying to find out the net current through the diode, it will simply be IP0, because IP0 is positive, right? So let's make our life simpler. So यहाँ पर minus of IN0. So essentially becomes, it's a sum of the two. Okay. And then NPO and PN naught को we can replace it by their minority expression Ni square by the doping. तो यहाँ पर मैंने बिठा दिया. So this is essentially the total current of the diode. Okay. Now this entire part, if you notice, so this whole region from here to here, this does not have any voltage dependent part. Correct. So as whenever you are trying to make a circuit, for instance, you are only concerned about the voltage dependent part. So ये वाला part जो है ना, we can essentially call this as a device related part, which will include both materials dependence. For example, material dependent part कौन से हैं? For example, dp, dn, ln, lp. These are the material dependent parts. Okay. So now what are the device dependent parts? Area of cross section of the device. Q to anyway constant. Ni square is again material dependent. Sorry. Device dependent part will be Nd, Na, Wp and Wn. These are the width of the N side, width of the P side. Okay. So what are we trying to drive at is that this part has got nothing to do with the circuits you design. Okay. So as a microelectronic circuit designer, You don't have to bother about it. That we will put it as I0. Okay. Now, this is a relation which you must have observed. You must have studied in your BTech. Correct? ये I0 का internal uh, model is this. We have seen how we have derived from scratch. Now, notice something, that if this V is less than 0, okay, remember what is the order of phi t? 0.026 volts at 300K. Okay, I'm not writing that. Now, V is in the order of volts. So clearly you can understand e to the power of V by phi t. So if V is, let us say, even a very small amount, 0.1 volt, तो फिर V by phi t क्या होगा? 0.1 by 0.026, correct? Which is going to be a very huge number. So e to the power of V by phi t, if V is, let us say, minus 0.1, then also V by phi t is a hugely negative number. So e to the power of hugely negative number, that means this part becomes negligible with respect to minus 1. So what do we get? We get that for all practical values of V which is less than 0, I will be equal to, यहाँ पर क्या होने वाला है? E to the power of V by phi t is negligible with respect to minus 1. So I will be equal to minus I0. Essentially meaning that if you're putting a negative bias or reverse bias, then the current will be equal to minus I0. That means reverse current. And why is it called a saturation current? Because you can clearly understand that it becomes independent of the voltage. So it will saturate in the negative. So essentially, if we are drawing the IV characteristics now, this is simply responsible for this small amount of current in the reverse bias. Correct? And then it becomes zero for a while. It's not exactly zero. Remember, this is in the linear scale. So I'll just put this linear. अगर log में करोगे, then you will find something else. Okay. So then it will come to something called V gamma, that is a cut-in voltage. After that, what is going to happen for a forward biased case? Now, when V is much larger than phi t, then e to the power of u phi t is very large with respect to minus 1, then it becomes an exponential function. Then the question is, how come it is 0 here? Who can tell me? We are going to revisit this question when we discuss about threshold voltage in MOSFETs. What happens is we are essentially used to looking at the diode characteristics in the linear scale. ठीक है? जब हम log scale में करेंगे ना, then you will notice this is an exponential term. This is exponential, correct? देखो यहाँ पर exponential है e to the power of v by phi t. So if you are plotting in the log scale I, then this is going to be linear. Yes or no? है ना? So basically what I'm plotting over here is log of I is going to be some log I0. This is of course a constant, okay, plus v by phi t. So what do you understand here? So this is v, right? So 1 upon phi t into v. So this is mx plus c. So this is a simple case of mx plus c relation, that is linear. Okay, na? So what do we get is that the reason why it is appearing to be 0 here is simply because it is in the linear scale. If you are plotting the same IV characteristics of the diode in the log scale, it is going to be linear. Okay, we will look into that much more details when we are dealing with MOSFETs. That is what leads to subthreshold leakage. Okay, very, very important in modern technology. So this is for the forward bias junction, reverse bias junction. Cool. Abhi aayega maza. Now for real life situations, real life means practical situations where we will encounter the junctions. Okay. Solution for the wide base junction. देखो, I'll open this up. This is a calculator. Okay. So there is one tan hyperbolic, right? So tan hyperbolic 1.76 to 0.96 3.995. So what we realize is the moment Wn by Lp, as well as this here Wn by Lp and also Wp by Ln, it exceeds like 2 or 3 times of Lp or Ln. What is Lp and Ln? Remember, diffusion length, right? So the moment the width of the N side of the diode and the width of the P side of the diode is greater than or equal to twice the diffusion length, we can consider the diode as wide base, or that means limit x tends to infinity, tan hyperbolic x is equal to 1, the way which I have shown. So infinity तो बहुत ज्यादा है, अगर 30 बना दिए तो ये 1 ही आ जाएगा, correct? So for a wide diode, for a big diode, wide base हम कहते हैं usually, because ये base क्यों कहते हैं, it's like historical reason, because pure junction is hardly ever used. Okay, so a transistor, a BJT, is much more interesting. So if we are having a wide base, so that means this kind of a situation. This is emitter, base, collector. Okay, in a wide base uh, BJT, then what happens is this tan hyperbolic factor will simply vanish, and you are left with this. Now comes the situation for a MOSFET, okay, where it is a narrow base. MOSFET में भी आता है in the standard case of BJT. This is the case of a BJT. In morning also I was explaining, right? So this should be as small as possible. This is the base. Okay. So for a narrow base junction, then what is the scenario? Again, let me open up the calculator. Sorry. 0.3. 0.29. Okay. मैंने दिया था x equal to 0.3, it is 0.29. If I'm putting something even smaller, 0.19. Okay. Let's go even smaller. 0.099, that is very, very close to 0.1. If we do this, so you realize that the more values of, the lesser the value of tan hyperbolic x, it will be approximately equal to x itself. I have put the values here for your reference. You can check it out on your calculator as I've shown. So now this essentially means that if the width of the P side or the N side, I'm just using only one to reduce my writing. So WP, if it is less or equal to, approximately equal to Ln by 2, that means if the width of the diode, okay, is less than half of its diffusion length, we can consider the diode as a narrow base, and then tan hyperbolic x is approximately equal to x. Okay. So what was the equation for us? This one, right? So tan hyperbolic ko hata do. We will be having Wn by Lp. Lp will cancel. Wp by Ln, Ln cancel. So you are left with this. Okay. So the first observation that we find from the wide base and narrow base equations for the current IV relation is that in case of a wide base junction, अगर भारी भरकम बड़ा वाला diode लेते हैं ना, over there it is independent of the diode size. There is no Wp or Wn size over here. It is dependent on the diffusion lengths. On the contrary, if it is a narrow base junction, then the width of the diode matters. And that is the reason why when we are trying to design a BJT, the base width, let us say WB, this base width matters in case of a BJT, because we know that we have to make this base width as small as possible. Otherwise, your efficiency will not go up, as we have seen in the morning class. So if we are trying to reduce WB, then clearly this is the formula you have to take. for your BJT. ठीक है ना? We will see if we have some time we can discuss BJT also, because after today, from tomorrow we will begin with MOSFETs. All right, so ये तो हो गया. So basically what are the case studies? Number 1, forward bias. Number 2, reverse bias. Number 3, wide base. Number 4, narrow base. So this wide base junction formula is what you will find in a simple PN diode. Okay, narrow base junction is what you will find in a BJT. Okay, now with this we will come to the situation for diffusion capacitance. Remember, this is for AC only, for high frequency, usually high frequency. Acha, any questions until now? Anybody? Awesome. This is probably known to everybody, so I don't know. So now I'll finish off with the diffusion capacitance. Okay, so in this diffusion capacitance part, what we will see is, remember that equation 1, 2 I have written excess minority carrier injection, excess injected minority carriers, whatever. So this equation I have copied over here. What is the other equation I have copied? Equation number 2. Okay, this one I have copied again. So for the narrow base, this is the case. Now we will highlight upon two important time factors. Notice we are speaking about narrow base over here, specifically valid for narrow base, that means BJT. And the reason why we are discussing specifically with the diffusion capacitance, and diffusion capacitance is something which is usually not discussed in details in the textbooks. Depletion capacitance is something which you will find everywhere. Because remember, BJTs are not used today, right? BJT is a very old, obsolete technology, to be honest. But still, BJT is used as a part of BiCMOS technology. Has this BiCMOS technology been done in VLSI design? Hello?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet, not yet. So you have done pseudo NMOS?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, excellent. Pseudo NMOS में हम लोग क्या करते हैं? Let's again little bit of बोलो.
We ground the gate potential of PMOS.
Okay, that is one. Okay, typical case. Now, what is the main issue with this particular structure? Here is basically the black box for the entire circuit, pseudo NMOS. Tell me. So clearly, if you ground this gate terminal, your VSGP, okay, that is going to be equal to how much? VDD, right? Which happens to be greater than mod of VTP. That means this transistor is always switched on. That is a drawback. That means you are always going to have a current flow from the power supply to the load capacitor. Okay, na? So what is going to happen is you are always having a kind of some current path which we are not unable to cut it out from here. But the only major advantage of this pseudo NMOS is that if you did with the static CMOS, you have to make one entire kind of dual of this circuit in the P logic part. Okay, so but it simply reduces the number of transistors clearly. But remember, another major issue with this particular NMOS is that you have to make this W much larger than the transistors over here. Why? Because remember, there is only one transistor which is going to support the rest of the transistors here. Yes or no? So what people have designed is that, okay, so that means anyway we are always going to have a transistor which is always switched on, because you have grounded the gate terminal of a PMOS, so it's always switched on. And again, since this is a MOSFET, this is only a surface effect device. So the total current drive for this MOSFET can be increased by only increasing the width. So if you are increasing the width of the transistor, so your capacitance and all those things will be essentially screwed up. Yes or no? So what people have done is, so let's do one thing. Instead of this uh, MOSFET, we will just put one BJT here. Okay, P-bias. So what will happen? Remember, a BJT is a 3D device. That means it's a bulk device. So the current drive of uh, typical BJT is in the order of milliamperes. In the standard case of MOSFETs, it will be microamperes. In case of FinFETs, for example, in case of FinFETs, 3D FinFETs, that essentially reaches to 1 to not even 2, it's in the order of 1 milliamperes in modern day technology. Okay, but this is the case for the MOSFETs in microelectronic technology, planar MOSFETs. This is the case of BJT. So as you can clearly understand, FinFETs have actually reached the milliamperes order. However, in case of a BJT, it will be in the tens of milliamperes order. Okay, so now the question is, that means if you are having a replacing this pseudo NMOS with a BJT, that BJT will have a much higher current drive even without bothering about the width. So that means your capacitance is still remaining under control, but you are getting enough current to drive the other part, the N block of the circuit. Yes or no? So basically, these kind of device circuits are called bipolar CMOS. That is BiCMOS technology. So these are essentially utilized primarily when we require higher performance, better performance. Okay. Now, so in case of a BJT, we are always going to have a higher current drive. Okay. So if it is a BJT, then obviously we have to think about this narrow base concept. Narrower the base region, better will be the efficiency of the BJT. Okay, na? So as I told you, BJT is an obsolete one, but BiCMOS technology is still used in some niche applications, some specific applications where you require the performance to be outright brilliant. Okay, when we require the main um, circuit design approach should be performance rather than the power. Okay, why power is an issue? Because in a BJT you are going to have more currents, so more amount of power will be consumed from the power supply, isn't it? But in case of pseudo NMOS, you can clearly understand anyway you have to make that PMOS much wider, so why not replace that PMOS with a BJT? At least capacitance to kam hoga, and capacitance kam hona matlab you are going to have a high speed operation. That's why BiCMOS is actually used only in situations where we don't care about the power constraints, but we are mainly concerned about the performance. Okay. So now, so even though normal BJTs are obsolete, in terms of BiCMOS, it is still there. So for all practical purposes, you will be having this narrow base coming into the picture thanks to the BJT. So in the narrow base, we will again consider WP is much less than WN, LN, and essentially you have these relations, which we have already seen. Now, coming back to the case of narrow base, notice now we are gradually going into the BJT, but I will not go into the depth of the BJT analysis. So this is the last topic of diodes per se. And after this, probably today itself or tomorrow, if it's okay with you, we will begin with the MOSFETs. So देखते हैं कितना हो सकता है. So we have already encountered this tau n factor when we were dealing with semiconductor statistics. That means the minority carrier lifetime. याद है ना? That means, okay, I can show you from this here. This is the minority carrier tau n. So that means the instance where the carrier was generated, it will undergo random motion and finally it gets recombined. The duration between the instance where it is recombined and when it was generated, that was the carrier lifetime. So we think of it as if the carrier was alive during this particular duration. So generated means it is born, recombined means it is gone. Okay, so something like that. So this is the minority carrier lifetime. The other part of importance is the transit time. So this is where I'll be speaking about. So if you are having a BJT, okay, then here is a carrier which is generated, and then that carrier will go through this base and finally reach the collector. So this is the collector, this is the emitter, and this is the base. All right. So the transit time is the time required for the electron to move from the emitter base junction, EBJ. We often call this as EBJ, and this is the CBJ, collector base junction. So the time required to move from the EBJ to CBJ, emitter base junction, and the collector base junction, this duration we will call it as T capital B. That is the transit time. This capital B usually stands for the base. All right. So now, if TB is the time required for the carriers to move from the emitter base junction to the collector base junction, then clearly you can understand, first of all, is that if the narrow base part is not there, then it is quite possible that the electron will essentially go and simply recombine inside the base only. Okay, so effectively alpha is equal to 0. Correct. So we have to ensure that the junction is not here but somewhere here, so that some electrons will essentially reach the collector. That will essentially define that alpha is going up. Okay, so that is one aspect of looking at it. So narrow base, why narrow base is important. So transit time is the amount of time taken for the electrons to move from the emitter base junction to the collector base junction. Okay, and minority carrier lifetime is tau n. So now, in the equation which I copied from the previous page, okay, this is a scenario. So what is the current density? Simply I will remove this capital A. Okay, current density at 0 will be essentially this. And remember, I have simply put tan hyperbolic Wp by Ln will be equal to Wp by Ln because it is narrow base. So यहाँ पर ln will cancel and you will be left with only Wp. Remember, this is in ampere per centimeter square because this is in current density. Okay. So the total excess minority carrier charge in the narrow base क्या होगा? Delta NP was the excess minority carrier density. That one I have integrated with x between 0 to the width of the P region. In case of a BJT, it will become simply WB. Okay, whichever it is, the small base region. And so this will essentially give you the, what is the unit of this part, this integral? ये per centimeter cube था ना? So what was the unit here? Okay. So you have integrated with x, so that becomes per centimeter square. And what is this minus q? Because of the electrons, we are talking about the minority carriers in the p-type region. That means electrons. Qn hai. Okay? So minus q is essentially referring to coulombs per centimeter square. This is the unit. Okay. So now I will just simply use this delta npx wala part here and I'll simply carry out the integration. Okay. But we are going to observe something. Why is it suddenly this form? Because remember, for a narrow base, Wp is much less than ln. Okay? यहाँ पर. So basically sine hyperbolic will be gone. You will be left with only Wp by ln in the denominator. In the numerator, Wp itself is much smaller than ln. So basically Wp minus x will be even smaller than ln. So that means in the numerator, you will be left with Wp minus x by ln. Denominator WP by ln. Ln cancels, and you are left with only 1 minus x by WP. So this is what I have put here. Cool. Then once we are trying to do the integration, you are left with this final expression. Unit Coulomb per centimeter square as the excess minority carrier charge in the narrow base region. Now, so once we are trying to find out the narrow base transit time, जो मैंने कहा था base region में traverse करने के लिए electrons को कितना समय लगेगा. Okay. Why is that so important? Because this TB is a very, very important term in the BiCMOS technology. If I'm teaching you VLSI design next semester, I do not know, अगर मुझे मिले तो, advanced VLSI design. Over there in the BiCMOS technology, I don't know, in VLSI design also, I think Sayed sir should teach you that one. So if you, over there, what we will do is we have to find out what is the time taken for, fundamentally how much time will be required for the electrons to go from the emitter to the collector. So that will essentially determine what is the maximum operating frequency of your circuit. Okay, so that means जो मैंने circuit छोटा सा भी बताया अभी, is basically a simple pseudo NMOS circuit. So instead of pseudo NMOS, if I put it as a BiCMOS, then the maximum frequency that your BiCMOS circuit can operate will be related to this transit time. Okay, so now you can relate, right? So it's not just some mathematics which we are doing, and we are essentially trying to find out the maximum operating frequency. So that means you can understand that will be in the gigahertz order. So this amount of the transit time, so this is one of the topics for today. So we have already done the IV relation. Now we are trying to deal with the transit time. Then we will come to the diffusion capacitance. So this transit time is going to determine the maximum operating frequency of the device itself. Now, this will again, I mean, the actual performance of the circuit will be even less than the actual device performance, because whatever we are doing right now, that doesn't take into account by the parasitics involved. We are not taking into the interconnect delays involved. Okay. You have done logical effort, right? Path effort, logical effort, branching effort. Hello?
No, sir, not yet.
अरे यार, ADVD में हमने कर दिया, BTech में. Today at 2 o'clock I had a tutorial and I was solving problems on that. In higher degree you are not doing it. Anyway, just keep a note of what are the things you did not learn from VLSI design. So when I am teaching advanced VLSI design, if I am teaching at all, then I will have to make sure that we cover those topics in much rigorous way. Okay. So what are they doing right now, Sayed sir? We kya para?
I started layouts.
Okay. Layouts was, I think, the last topic. Okay, layouts के बाद ही करेंगे वो लोग शायद. Manhattan geometry. You are doing Manhattan geometry, right? No. Manhattan geometry, stick diagrams.
Sir, he just gave introduction of lambda-based rules.
Okay. DRC. Okay, fine. So narrow base transit time, he will do it, I think. But logical effort is something which is extremely important. That will be extremely essential for designing faster circuits. So there are two approaches, as I've already discussed in this course also. So whenever you're designing any chip, especially the digital chips, one will be to reduce the power. The second thing will be to reduce the delays or increase the performance. So when you are designing analog ICs, if I teach analog IC design next semester, it's like kind of a dilemma whether I'll be teaching analog IC design or advanced VLSI design. But advanced VLSI design will be way more important for your placements, way more important. Like advanced VLSI design से ही सारे job लगे थे for your seniors. Only one course. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is that in analog IC design, people are concerned about GBW. So you have how to increase the gain, how to increase the bandwidth. All right, coming back over here. So in either case, whenever you are basically increasing the bandwidth for analog circuits or increasing the performance in case of digital circuit, you have to bother about this narrow base transit time, especially if you are doing BiCMOS. Okay. So now, what is the transit time? This is essentially a measure of how soon you can remove the amount of charge which is there uh, inside the base region. So the total excess minority carrier charge in the narrow base region is something which we have found over here. That is the Qn. So the total one, remember Qn का unit क्या है? Coulomb per centimeter square, है ना? So if I multiply with the area, that is the cross sectional area of that base of the BJT. So A into Qn will essentially give you the total total charge inside the base region divided by the total current which is flowing through the base. That means total current मतलब area multiplied by the current density जो हमने यहाँ पर निकाले थे, है ना? So that means if you have got Qn amount of charge here, this is the base region, तो यहाँ से current कितना जा रहा है? अगर जितना current जाएगा, so that means you are essentially you are able to flush out that much amount of charges from this particular base region. तो वही हम कर रहे हैं basically. Okay. In other words, charge is equal to current into time. ठीक है, करंट इज डिफाइंड एज द रेट ऑफ फ्लो ऑफ चार्ज, राइट? सो वहीं से आता है. ओके, सो क्यूएन का एक्सप्रेशन यहां बिठा दिए फ्रॉम दिस वन, सेम एक्सप्रेशन आई हैव पुट, एंड देन jn0 is this relation I have put over here. Then cancel and all that, and you will finally get this wp square by twice dn. Okay, so physically ये तो मैथमेटिक्स हो गया बहुत कुछ. फिजिकली क्या हो रहा है? dn is the diffusivity of the electrons in n-type carriers electrons in the p-type region. p-type region क्या है? Base is p-type, right? We are speaking about npn over here, npn BJT, and wp is the width of the p-type region. So essentially the base width. So clearly you can understand that if you want to reduce the transit time, you have to reduce the wp, or else you have to increase the dn. That means you have to increase the diffusivity of electrons in the p-type region. Again, obviously this is obvious, right? So that means if you choose the material as the base which has a higher diffusivity, then also your tb will increase, tb will decrease, right? So if you want to decrease the tb, one way, the width of the बेस रीजन को कम करना है, जो मैंने पहले भी बताया था intuitively. Now you can see it mathematically. Or the second thing which was not so evident when we were discussing it physical, that's why mathematical models are so important. So mathematical modeling से हमें ये पता चल रहा है कि dn को भी बढ़ा सकते हो. That is, you have to increase the diffusivity of the material which is used in as the base. Okay, there are techniques to increase the diffusivity also. Okay, now this is the transit time. So we have done this topic of transit time. Now from here we will calculate the diffusion capacitance. Very, very important. Remember, if the frequency of operation goes on increasing, say several hundreds of megahertz or gigahertz order, there the diffusion capacitance will be much more important factor than the depletion capacitance. Okay, all right. So what is the diffusion capacitance in the because of the n-type? So notice that the total charge aq, I'll put red, aqn, I have put a mod so that we don't have to bother about the negative every time, and this is the current into tb. tb is something which we have already obtained, so I'll put this wp square by 2dn. Then how do you define the capacitance? Capacitance is always defined like this, right? Total charge, the rate of change of charge with the voltage. ठीक है ना? So where is the voltage related term? E to the power of v by phi t. ठीक है? So once we do the calculation, it turns out to be in, the current Okay, In by phi t. Phi t is kt by q, wp square by twice dn, which is nothing but the TB. Okay, this much farads. Similarly, this is what we have done for the n part. For p type, again, we are going to do the same thing. Okay. However, in the p side, it is essentially, it is the wide region. So if it is the wide region, okay, so you will get essentially this relation. Okay, you do the same thing. The only difference is that you are changing the QP expression or the JP expression, okay, current density expression. So you will be left with this. So the total diffusion capacitance turns out to be the sum of the two capacitances. Why? Because one will be the N side, the other one will be the P side. It will depend on which one is the narrow and which one is the wide. In this derivation, I have chosen the N as the narrow. This is the wide. So this is for the PNP transistor. N is the narrow side for this derivation. So if you are doing it, you are going to arrive at this relation. Now, what is important for us is that notice that if the current of the BJT goes on increasing, which is something which we want, we are using BiCMOS technology to ensure that the currents are high. तो अगर यहाँ पर currents बढ़ जाते हैं ना, so you can clearly understand the detrimental effects. आपका seed diffusion increases. And then LP is a material constant. That is the diffusivity in the p-type material. Diffusion length in the p-type material. dp is what? Diffusivity. dn is the diffusivity of the n-type material, which is again a material constant, but wp is the width of the base. Okay, and then so clearly if you are trying to design a BJT, the main capacitance of the BJT will come from the diffusion capacitance part if you are specifically operating at a high frequency. Okay, and why is that so important? Because BJTs are primarily used for high frequency operation. Okay. Okay, so that completes our analysis for, so we have done the two capacitances for, we have modeled the two capacitance of the diode, we have modeled the IV relation of the diode, and the transit time. We have also discussed the electrostatics as well. Okay, so now what we shall do is, okay, let's, since we have got some time, I do not want to spend time on this since we are running short of scheduled classes. So काम करते हैं.